Okay, why are you creating a budget? Now, creating a budget seems like the first logical check mark on your personal finance journey, but there's a few more things to consider. Hey, my name is Nick, and on this channel, we talk about the tips and tactics to the topics I wish that we had learned in school. In this case, setting your intention behind creating a budget. As always, we got the timestamps listed below so that you can jump to the parts that matter most to you, as well as a link to a full blog article in case you prefer the written version of this. If you find anything in this video helpful, please consider liking or subscribing, as it not only helps the channel out, but you will also stay up to date on any future videos that I launch. All right, so simply creating a budget for the sake of creating a budget is totally useless if you're not creating the budget with a specific goal in mind. Setting a goal to pay off my student loan debts. It's a great first step, but it's missing a lot of key pieces here. Here are some other thoughts or questions to ask yourself when you're setting this initial intention. 1, by when do I want to pay this off? Setting a clear date is really going to set a flame under you of how fast and how much you're willing to sacrifice to get to that goal. 2, are there other things to consider, like an emergency fund or certain savings or different things like that that you need to keep in the back of your mind as you're setting this initial budget together? 3, what are some of the things that are passions, hobbies, or things that just bring you joy? I'll double click on this one later in the video because this is probably one of the questions that I didn't ask myself at the beginning that I wish I had. Focusing on paying off all your debts at all costs seems like an admirable ambition, but some of these goals, when you break down all the numbers, it's going to take a number of months or years to truly accomplish. To sacrifice everything might become hard when you aren't seeing any kind of like mini wins along the way. So setting up things that keep you motivated and staying on track and seeing progress throughout that overall journey is extremely important. So let me go through those 3 questions that I had listed prior and relate it back to my own scenario that I was trying to get through when I was creating my first budget. Now, some background information. I had just graduated from university. I had $18,000 in debt. I was making $60,000 at my entry-level job, and outside of student loan debt, there was no other debts that I had to consider. The timeline that I wanted to accomplish was as soon as possible. In fact, me and one of my other friends, we kind of created a competition out of it of who can pay off their debt the fastest. Being that, we were kind of both at the same starting salary and we both had this goal of doing it. I found that was actually really helpful because a little bit of competition kind of like keeps you going when you're trying to beat them. Hey, we'll get right back to the video in a quick second. I just want to let you know that any of the guides, tools, resumes that you see in this video or any of my other videos, I've put together in what I call the Trailblazers Foundation Kit, and it's free to anyone in my community. You can access it and have it emailed directly to you at nicholasayala.com/kit. All right, that's it. Back to the video. The second part was, what savings or emergency fund did you really want to put together? Now, at the time, I barely had any expenses. I was couch surfing for the first 6 months out of college. There was a lot of things that cut a lot of my expenses, so I didn't really focus too much on this area, but feel free to modify that part just based off of your own current situation. Now, the last piece here, which was one of my biggest regrets of not considering at the time, was what brought me joy. I had a pay debt down at all expense approach. What that meant was that I had to make a lot of sacrifices, and it became really hard when there was this social pressure of kind of balancing everything. I missed birthday parties or gatherings or events and things like that, all because I didn't want to spend $12 going out that night. And so it might seem like it was a little bit of an over rotate of wanting to get everything done if I, would have been okay with 1 or 2 months later hitting that goal and still being able to participate in some of those things. So keep that in mind as you're putting together, the intention behind your budget, the goals that you're setting for the budget, and setting aside a little bit of a YOLO fund if you wanted to do something along the way that brought you some joy and you were okay with modifying some of your budgeting goals and plans and debt pay down so that you can enjoy the journey a little bit along the way. All right, in the next video, we're going to touch on how to select your first budgeting template. And so I will see you over there.